the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. The show that gives you the lowdown on how to become a successful real estate entrepreneur. With more than 30 years of experience, America's top female real estate investor Dwan is an expert in financial freedom and turning dreams into realities. Now's your chance to become a Dwandernaire with the help of Dwan. Here's to a flaming hot foreclosure market with the help of Dwan. Cheers.
Hey everybody, woohoo! I'm so glad you're here today. Welcome to another exciting episode of Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. And as you know, I interview people from all kinds of crazy walks of life. Some are into real estate, some are not. People are into everything. And we just like to see what other people are thinking about and what's in their head. And hopefully you, the listener, will gather some little golden nuggets that can help you on your own journey. So I am Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate. And the podcast is called The Most Wonderful Real Estate Podcast Ever. So our motto at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that resonates with you, then you are at the right place. This is the right time. And I have two amazing guests for me today. And I'm really excited to learn more about these two guys. So first I have John LeBrun. Did I say it right? Yes. And I have all his name, Lafayette Lane. I honestly don't think I've ever met a person named Lafayette. So welcome to the show, guys. I'm so excited you're here.
Thanks for having us.
Excited.
I know.
Glad to be here.
So first we start off with drinks with Dwan. So what are we drinking today?
I've got a bottle of water.
I have water too. Okay, good. I usually check first. So we do a toast. So cheers to you guys. Thank you for coming to the show. And everyone listening, just like take a deep breath, stretch, and just be with us in the moment right here today. And we have some fun and some action-packed stuff. So I'm ready to go. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So basically, we want to know what's your deal. So we want you to tell us kind of who you are right now, how people can find you right now, and then we're going to backtrack and see how the magic happened.
Go ahead, Lafayette.
Well, I'm Lafayette Lane. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks again, Dwan, for having me on, and my brother John. I am 27 years old. I am a husband to a wonderful daughter of 4, who's 4 years old. Now, I don't have 4 kids. I have one on the way. We are expecting a baby boy here in October. We just had our baby shower yesterday. Professionally, I am a IT professional in the financial sector. I also am a youth pastor, a minister at my church. I'm also a part of a youth organization that is a part of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World. The organization is called the Southwest Region Young People's Union, where our goal and mission is to connect, empower, unite other youth, not only in the areas of spirituality, but just making sure they walk in their purpose. And I am one of the hosts of the awesome best leadership podcast out called the Unscripted Authentic Leadership Podcast that I get to do on a weekly basis with my brother, John LeBrun. We actually just recorded our 50th episode today. You could connect with me and the page on Instagram, Unscripted Authentic Leadership Podcast. That is the Instagram handle there is Unscripted Leadership. Also on Facebook, Unscripted Authentic Leadership Podcast. On Twitter, we're at Unscripted Lead. Also LinkedIn, Unscripted Authentic Leadership Podcast. YouTube, Unscripted Authentic Leadership Podcast. And we are available on all streaming platforms from Apple to Spotify, Google Podcasts, Unscripted Authentic Leadership Podcast. Check us out. I guarantee you'll be blessed. You'll become a better leader by listening to that. Leave us a review. And again, thanks for having us on.
Oh, well, now I have all your info. I'm going to be like cyber stalking you guys. So, I love that. I love that you're a youth pastor.
Yes.
Gosh darn, we need so many. Our poor kids today. They're just Oh my God, I just can't even think about what these kids have to go through today. So, John, tell us a little bit about you, like what you do and how we find you.
Sure. John LeBrun. And yes, brother Lafayette Lane here. I'm 37. He's 27. I am 37 and years young. I have 2 kids. I'm married to an amazing woman. My kids are 10 and 7. It's kind of crazy. And so mine are getting older and his are just starting. But anyways, during the day, I'm in cybersecurity. That's how Lafayette and I met. And I work for my family owns a cybersecurity firm here in Beaver Creek, Ohio. And then I did the youth pastors thing for a short time, about 5 years. And then but now the co-host of Unscripted Authentic Leadership, and excited about that journey and where that's going. So.
I love that too. You know, you don't know this about me. I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
What?
Wow.
Yes. I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. Do you know a little tiny town called West Milton?
Yeah.
It's like north of Dayton. I grew
I've
up
never
in
been
West
there,
Milton,
but yeah.
man. So
Never been anything, but I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard of it.
well, it's a dot. It still just has a traffic light.
Okay.
There's been no real progression in West Milton since I moved out. I'm so old compared to you all. I moved out on my own in '78.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think y'all might have just like been them being born about that time. And I was like, there's nothing for me to do if I stay in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
At that time in the '70s, it was sort of like get out of high school, get married, work at a factory, have kids.
Yep.
And none of that sounded like anything I wanted to do. So I was like, I'm going to bounce. So thank God.
So the factories are mostly gone.
Yeah, they are.
I just saw an article published that Dayton, Ohio is one of the most sought after or leading areas in the future for people who want to get into tech or programming. So
is
it's
it?
changed. Yes.
Oh, I love to hear that.
I just read that last week. Yeah.
Okay, damn, that's good. Man, my dad still lives up there, and I have tons of cousins. And I was like, oh man, Dayton needs something, man, because it was all General Motors and like forever. So I'm happy to see that it's coming out of the dark ages.
Sure is.
Coming out of the dark ages. So you guys are both in cybersecurity. That's really interesting.
Yes.
So tell me like just a little bit. I don't really know a whole lot about that, to be honest with you. So kind of like what's the kind of the gist of it?
So I mean, basically for cybersecurity, your goal is to protect the network. So Lafayette works for a financial institution, does really well there, and he works within their network. My role is more of working with clients to help them protect their network in the sort of unknowns, help them identify where their weaknesses are, what we call them vulnerabilities, and then how to remediate those. And so that's mostly it. When someone gets into cybersecurity, there's a vast area of what that means. Most people think they're monitoring systems and stuff, and that certainly is a deal. And so we both are in it during the day. We both have been, I guess you could say, professionally trained, but I would say that both of us, our passion lies in leadership and helping people become better individuals so they can better lead their families, their businesses, their communities to make real impact and real big change.
I really love that because so that would make both of you millennials. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
John, are you are you on the cusp or are you a millennial?
Yeah, I'm right on the edge, but I'm in there.
Okay.
You made it in just in time.
Yeah, you just like I just like barely slid into baby boomer status. So one of the things, because at my age, I'm 62 now, and I've been doing real estate for 30 years, but I've trained people from 16-year-old kids all the way to my oldest student is 85 years old. And I've trained everyone all over. And I find that and I don't know, maybe this is just me because I'm very old school and like you get disciplined and you follow the rules and there's none of this. You need a safe space. There's no safe space. I don't do that. And maybe you guys do. I don't know. But I just feel like a lot of the kids today don't have any like real direction towards leadership because everyone's just like all over and there's so much controversy going around in just the world and politics and all stuff like that. It's like, where do young people find solid leadership?
Well,
it's hard.
I think to that point, I would agree partially, but I also would disagree a little bit when you say that young people don't really have direction. I just think our direction looks different than the previous generations.
I agree.
One thing that we value on our podcast is being a bridge. We've had episodes talking about millennials, talking about baby boomers, and how we can bridge the gap.
Yeah.
You're more of a, like you said, here's the rules, follow the rules. We are an information age. And so because there's so much information that we have, you can't just no longer tell a millennial, do it without them asking you why.
Oh,
and
I've got 3 millennial children.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, why? I'm like, oh my God, because I said so.
Right. But here's the thing, right? Like the why can be misinterpreted because a lot of times, or most times, I would suggest the why is not because we are being disrespectful or we're challenging authority. It's because maybe we have something to offer or a different perspective to be more efficient in getting the job done that you're trying to get accomplished. So we believe in working smarter rather than previous generations just work hard. We're like, no, I'd rather work smart than work hard. Are you following what I'm saying?
Oh, you kidding me? Everyone that works for me, they're all millennials. Because I'm like, listen, you guys do things easier, you do things faster, you do things quicker. Teach me what you can, but like, I don't need to know how to do security. I need to hire a person that does that because that's what they do. I teach people how to become real estate investors and reach financial freedom, but I have a lot of stuff that needs protecting too. So no, I am all down. That's why I love young people. But so my 3 kids, they're all really hard workers. They're all owning rentals. I have 4 grandbabies, and they're just like doing all these great things. But then I have the other side where I see a lot of their friends. As I was like the room mom, I have thousands of young kids I've known over the years. And some of them I'm like, good Lord, like, how are you ever going to survive in this world without some direction besides all the baby boomers that were overindulgent with their kids because we had money?
Yes, there's definitely. So a lot of, it's funny because as you read reports or you read different things about people being concerned with the direction of millennials. Now, millennials are getting older now. So let's say Gen Z. Yeah. The problem is most people don't, I would say boomers often don't like how they are doing things or how the direction are going, or that they may feel lost. But what people don't understand is the boomers are also the parents of the generation.
Oh yeah.
And so there is a little responsibility there, but at the same time, I don't know that it's a bad thing. So boomers are parents of people who grew up in very industrial revolution, right? Basically show up, become a robot, do what we tell you to do, almost like a soldier, but without actually fighting. And then we'll make sure you get paid. But the goal for the industrial revolution, the reason that worked so well is because people at that time needed security and financial security. And that's what they wanted. And while people still seek financial security now, our country is not in a space where most people are dying of hunger necessarily. Does it happen around the world? Yes. Does it happen in this country? Of course it does. Yeah. But I would say that it's not the same as during the Great Depression, where most people were well aware that lots of families couldn't find food. Those types of things. Does it still happen? Of course. And I'm not saying that it doesn't. I still support causes towards that. But the difference, a lot of differences now is most people's, I would say their security doesn't fall in the fact that they are reliant, that they're dying for. Do they need the paycheck? Yes. But do they want to do it at all costs of just doing what you tell them to do without reasoning or without guidance or without or abject to morals or standards, those types of things? People are a lot more likely to leave a job due to issues with standards than they would have been before, which isn't a bad thing. Millennials and Generation Z are a lot more likely to leave a job within the first few years because they don't like it.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. But a lot of people say they're job hopping. But I would say that somebody who's willing to make changes often, early, is probably going to be, I think we'll see how it plays out, but I think there's a lot of benefit to that to seeking happiness versus a lot of our parents who stayed with the same career for 40 years and hated it the whole way because they were attached to that paycheck.
They were. So my parents were the factory workers. So as I'm growing up and I'm in high school, I'm being told, get married, get a job, get babies, work on a factory, and then work for the man. And then when you're 60, you can retire. So I did actually get a factory job right out of high school. I worked there for 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, why would my parents want this for me? This is like, I felt like, I can remember even thinking, like, if this is what 40 years of this looks like, I don't even want to live through it. Like, I don't even, there's no way. I can't make it. I won't be able to make it. And thank God they did layoffs. And so I didn't know what the pink slip and I didn't know what a layoff meant. And I remember this guy walking through the factory with all, and people were just frozen in silence. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, they're giving out pink slips. Like, what does that mean? Is it laying people off? I was, what did that mean? And they're letting people go. And I was like, oh, Jesus, please give me a pink slip. Please, 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 please give me a pink slip. Because, I'm that decade. If I would have quit my job, my dad would be like, why didn't you quit your job? So I got that pink slip. Was the best day of my life. I was like, listen, I'm going to go to Florida and I'm going to figure something else out. I don't know. I'm working for myself. I'm going to figure something else out. But this thing of working for the man, it's not working for me. So I was already like 2 weeks in and I was already out of that. So I'm proud to say that all three of my kids all work for themselves too. Like, there's no like man to rely on. There's no job where you work 40 years and retire anymore. And people have to, and I know your generations doesn't even understand that, but thank God, because if that had carried on and carried on and carried on, we just have a world of robots, literally robots. And I have cousins
go ahead.
Yeah, I have cousins that did that, and they retired when they all turned 60, and they're so like they hate their life. It's like, thank you. I did not get stuck in that rat. So in that rat race, or factory rats, I guess they call them. And oh my gosh, so I just think it's awesome, and I do get the transition. That's why I love talking to all the younger folks. Like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? And what do they think? Where are we going in society? And where's technology going? And what other great things are out there?
Sure.
Yeah, I think the next biggest challenge with our generation is essentially, I think there's something to say about forming some grit. So a lot of people are very moved by what others perceptions. And so my goal right now is to help other people feel comfortable in their skin so they can make those changes, take those steps forward. Don't worry about if somebody unfollows you or whatever. We had like 4 people randomly unfollow us when I posted something the other day. I don't know if Lafayette probably didn't even notice because we don't really look that closely. But we did an interview. It's not out yet. So, or no, it did go out and had a thumbnail, and the thumbnail was opposite of what the video, but it was catching. But I noticed people went, bloop, and I'm like, oh, well. My wife's like, you can change it? No, they can read it. They can listen to the video.
No.
The thumbnail said defund the police and had a question mark, or had a guy with a little question face, and everybody thought we were making a statement. And it was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh, well, they weren't committed anyways.
They were not committed to your
Lafayette,
cause.
you probably didn't even notice because we gained 10 more followers right after that. So it didn't matter.
Exactly.
The video was not about the thumbnail. It was just an eye-catching piece. And it was very interesting. But people, I think, need to understand how to fail and how to have some grit behind it. Because the reality is most of us, not all of us, but I didn't grow up with lots of hardships. I didn't grow up needing things. I didn't grow up wondering my meals were coming, that types of things. So how do I raise my kids to, I'm not going to make them miss meals, but how do I raise them to have some grit to where when they fall, it's okay. Just get up, dust your knees off, put some dirt on it, and keep going.
Yeah. I love it. And I love the fact that both of you work and have worked with the youth, because I mean, I don't know, this is maybe me, but I find out that a lot of the younger people, they really question all the religions, and like I just kind of followed into my parents' footsteps, and then I tapped out of the whole God thing for like a decade, and then got back in. I just feel like there's a lot of younger people that aren't following God and Jesus, and because they don't have any young examples. There's like all these old preachers that have been around for a million years. Like, where's all the new snappy, like, hey, Jesus is hip? Where's all that?
It's coming.
Well, being a young preacher myself,
Mhm.
I can vouch that in my phone right now, I got at least 25 young preachers I can call
Oh, I love that.
that are my age or a year or two difference. And so I think it's the exposure and what we focus on.
Yeah, it is.
Especially in the age that we are living in. Everyone wants to focus on when something goes wrong, when there's negativity. But when people are doing something positive, you don't get as many likes, you don't get as many views, you don't get as many shares, because it's so much easier for negativity to be spread out than something positive. And so I think for us that are doing the work, that are spreading the gospel, that are spreading positivity, that we should highlight those of us that have a platform, as me and John are doing. We've had people on our show that have the little as 50 followers, 2,000 followers, 17, 20,000 followers. The whole point is, if you are trying to look for something, don't look to get on somebody else's platform, build your own. And so
Amen.
we are not looking, hey, we're waiting for somebody to give us an opportunity to spread this positivity, to spread this message. Hey, there are young people, there are young leaders that are actually doing positive things, because I firmly believe there are more positive young people that are doing positive things than negative. It's just that the exposure is not there. And so those of us that have a platform like yourself, Dwan, that you're doing tonight, giving us this opportunity, and the platform that we have with Unscripted, and using your social media pages. If you go on my social media page, if you go on John's social media pages, you're going to see either something about Unscripted or something about positivity, about our family, something about God. And so we're doing that and spreading that and making sure that we're highlighting and magnifying those that are doing positive, instead of saying, hey, you know what, where are they at? And I get it, Dwan, because I go to a church that it's a hybrid. There's a group of young people, then there's also an older generation. And so again, as I said before, we're here to be that bridge, right?
Yes.
To say, hey, there is young people out here that are doing positive things, that have families, that have careers, that have goals, that have aspirations, and are walking in their purpose, and are not trying to be haters of other people. We're here to, build other leaders up. And so it's not about competition, but collaboration. And so the more we can collab together, we are better together. No matter what your ethnic background is, no matter where you've come from, there are young people that are out here doing positive things.
There is. Gosh, amen.
Yeah.
I love you guys so much already.
Now you know why our show is successful, because of that guy.
No.
I know. No, it's
We
both
did it
of you.
together.
You guys are like the perfect match together like that. But it is so. Do you? He's a TV pastor. Do you know Mike Todd?
Yeah, Transformation Church.
Oh my God. I just discovered him a couple months ago. I am addicted to that man.
He's
I'm
a
just
beast.
like, he's young, he's hip, he's black, he wears sweatshirts, he's
Right.
just raw. And I'm just like, this is like my new favorite guy. I love this guy.
Yeah.
And I just,
Yeah.
I see you guys like that. Like, you got to be a little younger, hipper, and stop all the old fashioned stuff, because it doesn't appeal to the young kids, but they still need to know all those things. And you know what God has for that. And in fact, you said you're Pentecostal. I love Pentecostal church. Yeah, those are the clerks where you in there like, woo on, Ron, shaking your tambourines, and like nobody thinks you're a crazy person.
Yeah. And it comes in different forms and fashions. Me and John don't come from the same background. As you said, I'm apostolic Pentecostal preacher. If you hear me preach, I don't preach like Mike Todd. I'm very charismatic, but I also can teach. And so we have to accept everybody's gift. A gift is a gift. It just comes in a different package, right? The rapping is different. Me and John, we have different rapping, but we're both gifted. I respect his gift. I'm not intimidated by him. He's not intimidated by me. And that's why we work together, because we know what we do and we embrace each other as brothers, and we respect the gift on each other's life.
I love that. I feel like if more people would work with people collectively, instead of thinking like, well, I have a church and you have a church and now we're competing. If people would stop that feel like we'd have a better world just in that thing alone.
Yeah,
Yes.
people have a lack mentality, even in the
Yeah.
church, which is unfortunate.
Absolutely.
The same with money. That's why people don't like when someone else makes money, because they view money as a pie. They don't realize that God provides all needs. And
Yes.
so they see things as a pie. So if you have a certain percentage, that automatically means less than I can get. Hence why the whole, tax people higher to get more money, because then people, because they got the most. I'm like, well, you can go get more. And if you do go get more, then that means you'll have to give more up. But anyways, but I don't get too much into that. But
No,
for real, that's why
I
people
love
get
that
mad.
though.
When people get mad when they
When-
see successes, because I always tell my kids, there's two ways to have the tallest building. You can build yours up, or you can tear someone else's down. But obviously, the best way to go is to build yours up. And so, but churches do the same thing. So the church sometimes it's all about not all. I have a great church.
Yeah.
So does Lafayette, but you do
too.
see where it's basically like an attendance competition.
Oh
And
no,
so-
I mean, I
so-
live in a very, very small town up here, and I'm in Colorado. I
Mhm.
mean, my entire town, we have just one little traffic light, and there's like 80 churches.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, runs ads, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, people, just go where the church where the Holy Spirit is. That's the one. Go to that one and just stay in there.
We've missed it, Dwan, that God did not call us to compete. He called us to complete.
Yes, amen. Gosh,
We
I
would
love
learn to
hearing that.
complete and not compete, we'd be better.
I agree. And even like in my arena with real estate investors, if I'm teaching wholesaling and someone else is teaching wholesaling, they look at me like I'm the arch enemy. It's like, listen, I'm going to appeal to a certain, like if all three of us were in a room together and we're all teaching